That's right, around the water cooler. And this around the water cooler, I want to talk about the Browns. They are our favorite subject no matter what the season is. We're in the middle of a potential playoff run, and Browns are still the hottest topic in town. And lately, they've been looking at just about every quarterback possible as they prepare for the draft. Notably, they've used 5 of their top 30 visits on QB prospects. Noah, break down for me who those prospects are and how you feel about what the Browns are doing right now.
Yeah, man, this is a fun one and fun one to talk about. Not so fun, in my opinion, to think about some of these names in the orange and brown. Shedeur Sanders, my favorite quarterback prospect in this class. Cam Ward, another name that obviously the Browns met with. They had the private workout in Miami, et cetera, et cetera. Jaxson Dart, Ole Miss quarterback, has had some hype around his name as of late due to his size and arm power. Get into some of the hesitations in a second. Jalen Milroe, a quarterback that has been linked to the Cleveland Browns a couple times due to his college offensive coordinator for 1 year at Alabama, Tommy Rees, being the new offensive coordinator of the Cleveland Browns. And the one that I groan the most about is one Tyler So from Texas Tech, Oregon, Louisiana, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, on his 6 year college career. He is currently 25, about to be 26 in September.
And if
Um,
you said who when Noah just said that name, that's okay. That's perfectly okay.
so there's multiple things here. We can go prospect by prospect, I guess. Let's Do we even need to talk about Cam or Shedeur? I think at this point we've all both beaten the dead horse here on the show. We'd rather them just take quarterback at 2. Happy if they do so. Let's move on from those two. Cam's probably not going to be here. Shedeur. Well, we'll talk about some Shedeur options of how we can end up with him in a little bit here on the show. A little foreshadowing for you. Jaxson Dart. Jaxson Dart is my favorite of these bottom 3 quarterbacks because he has all the prototypical size, shape, stature, blah, 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 blah. The biggest hang up for me is the biggest hang up for most people who talk sports, which is he played in Lane Kiffin's offense. He does not have the offensive surrounding, shall we say, to make you feel comfortable he's going to make that drop. What I mean by that is that Jaxson Dart played in a very easy to learn, easy to read offense, which Lane Kiffin is known for. Lane Kiffin's the head coach at Ole Miss. So that scares me a lot with him. That being said, I get it with the size and stature. If I'm picking bottom of the barrel, I
He
guess.
has he has skills that you can't teach. But can he even take a snap from under center? Like that's a
That's
question
part of it
mark.
too. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're dead ass right that Old Miss's offense does not translate to the NFL at all. Footwork, how to take a snap. I mean, he could struggle a bit.
Yeah, and those are all concerns, but if you can iron it out, I get the appeal here. But I think we're trying to make what is the saying, a square peg fit in a round hole in a draft that is weak at quarterback, which everyone knows that. Just because this guy has the prototypical NFL size. So neither here nor there on that. He could be an option. A lot of people think he might actually end up going in the first, so there might have to be a trade scenario if the Browns are super sold on him. The guy that I think we should talk about the most, though, is one Jalen Milroe. And that's because of what I already said, his connection to the Browns. There's been a lot of rumors this week that the Browns are super interested in him. It kind of seems like if you're reading between the tea leaves, it'll be Travis Hunter at 2. It'll be Jalen Milroe at 33 and or trade up. Just assuming a lot of different pieces don't fall. I am not a fan of Jalen Milroe. I get the athleticism.
Yeah,
I
tell me why, because I agree, but I want to hear your take first.
the lack of pocket awareness. He will just stand in a pocket and take a sack almost to a fault. You know what I mean?
Okay,
You
so
like a guy that can get hit. I'm sorry, I'll let you go in a second. You like a guy that'll take a hit, but you don't want a guy who will just stand there forever and not do anything, especially at the level of an athlete, a level of the athlete that Jalen Milroe is.
it's funny that you say that because I have the exact opposite problem with him. He tends to bail out of clean pockets way too often. because he's athletic and he relies on that athleticism. The film footage that I looked at, I mean, he's bailing out of a lot of clean pockets, and we've seen that before with Cleveland Browns
It's
quarterbacks.
the overall pocket awareness. I was going to get into that. Sometimes he will stand there and he'll just take a shot for no reason. Other times it'll
Yeah,
be 1 second in the pocket, it's completely clean, and he'll just run away, which I get it because you're an athlete and you can make the play, and he has the speed and agility to do things like that. It frustrates me. Another thing, we want to make fun of Kenny Pickett and his small hands.
the
Jalen
hand
Milroe
size.
had really small hands, and small hand size is not an exact,
Which he fumbled
measurement.
like 24 times in 2 seasons as a starter. So
Right.
fair.
Hand size doesn't always equate to not being a good NFL quarterback, but there's more cases than not showing that it doesn't equate to being a good NFL quarterback. What else do you think on Milroe?
One of my bigger issues with him is that he, like I said before, he has a tendency to really rely on his athleticism. He does it when he's in a pocket, so he'll scramble out of a clean pocket. He does it with his arm. He relies on his arm strength instead of good footwork and good mechanics. I'm not saying that those aren't things that could come with development, but the situation for the Browns is we need a guy that we could potentially plug in immediately. We don't need a guy that we can teach footwork to for the next 3, 4, 5 seasons that sits behind, a Brett Favre like Aaron Rodgers coming along. That's not what the Browns need. And so I just, his decision making and progression, he forces throws sometimes into tight coverage. He had quite a few turnovers. Like you said about the hand size, I hate that stat. But the fumbles speak for themselves. He was sacked a lot too. I don't know. I think he has flashes of development that are there with the right coaching. But I'm out for the Browns, honestly.
Yeah, that's my thing too, is he's definitely a guy that's going to need plenty of time to develop in the NFL. And I don't think this is a team that should be relying on a developmental guy that much to be their guy. It seems like Stefanski and Barry's job security is very much fine in terms of how Haslam's talked and how both of them have talked. Obviously, that could
For
change at the
now.
drop of a dime, right? But I
Well, he's
think they're
getting a
not
shiny new stadium as of today, so he's
right,
he's
right. That
happy right now.
So I get it. There's some pros and cons to him. I understand that you might have a connection and a guy in Tommy Reese who feels highly of Jalen Milroe. He has all the intangibles off the field of being, a scholar and having his head on right and XYZ.
That's fine, but I don't know. For me, he just his his mechanics themselves, like he doesn't have a smooth delivery. If you watch him, I don't know. To be successful in the NFL, you got to hit routine throws consistently. I mean, you got to be robotic in those routine throws. And he's not. I don't, like I said, I think his ceiling's high. And I think you could steal him in a second. Who knows? Maybe even third round. I don't know what's going to happen. Um, that's great, but it's not time for us to take a flyer there.
Yeah, I don't think Jalen Milroe falls to the third just because of his athletic ability. Some people give him the running back moniker like they did with Lamar and that kind of thing, and him being able to have a fit on some roster somewhere just with his pure athletic ability alone. But yeah, it doesn't inspire me like taking a guy like Shedeur or trading up to take a guy like Shedeur, foreshadowing once again, would do for me. Let's get into the last guy real quick. I know this is supposed to be quicker takes, but this has been fun. Tyler
Yeah, yeah.
Shough. How do you feel about Tyler Shough? Because I am all the way off. There's a lot of experts that think that this guy could be the truth for a lot of people. I smell Brandon Whedon.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not a fan. I want to hear what you think his downsides are. But for me, yeah, I'm in the same place as I said with Milroe, but worse, right? I mean, I just think he's a backup journeyman maybe kind of guy. I don't see him as a starter with a high ceiling, and again, that's not what we need.
Yeah, I'm with you. He doesn't have years of tape. He had one good year at Louisville, which is fine. Louisville's a high enough school in my mind where that tape should count. It's not like he played at, Incarnate Word or something like Cam Ward did initially or
Right.
whatever it is. But he also has not one, but two season ending injuries underneath his belt. Another
Mhm.
injury that made him miss significant time. The injury history is there. Yeah, he has a lot of the size, stature, mindset, blah, blah, blah. Uh, but taking a guy who's 25, about to be 26, which isn't typical for what Andrew Berry does. Andrew Berry drafts young. Taking a guy who has that deep injury history and taking a guy who only has one good, solid, full year of film.
Yeah.
In any other draft, he's a day 3 pick. And I've seen, I don't know if it was Mel Kiper, but it was one of the bigger ESPN heads, had him mocked to us at 33. And if the Cleveland Browns take Tyler Shough at 33, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. I might have to go find another fan base.
There are, like you said, injuries. He's old. I mean, I probably put him around the 10th or 11th best quarterback in this draft. And that honestly says a lot. I mean, I'd put even Kyle McCord ahead of him. And I think we all know how I felt about, Honda McCord last year. Yeah, I'm out on him for sure.
Yeah, it's just, I get it. Some of the tape is really intriguing from what I've seen on, talk shows and doing some of my own research. But I've seen tape be intriguing for Kyle McCord, for crying out loud. And
Hmm.
you could get Kyle McCord in the 4th round and maybe he turns into something. I don't think he will, but I'd rather take McCord at that. It's just, it's frustrating. I
Tyler
don't
Show,
like
he throws with like too much touch at times, which sounds silly. I don't know. I think his mechanics break down under pressure. He needs to be more of a game manager, and he tries to go and win games. If a coach can put him in a situation with a really good defense and be a game manager, I think he could do okay. But to go out and win a game for you, he's not the guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I also have this weird misconception, I guess. Maybe it's not a misconception that Skip Stefanski, if a guy has the right tool set, can make that guy look like God. Insert Joe Flacco, insert Jacoby Brissett at one time, insert Case Keenum with the Vikings, and for a stint here and there with us with Baker's injuries.
Go back
I
to
don't know.
Brian Hoyer with us.
Well, I'm talking Stefanski specifically,
Oh,
but
okay, okay.
those are just some of the examples. I don't know. I'm still in favor of Shedeur Sanders being the pick. I think the guy has all the intangibles and the tool set to be successful as a Cleveland Brown if you were going quarterback in this draft. And I am on the side of going quarterback in this draft.
Well, I agree, and I think our water cooler is empty. What do you think?
Yeah, I have to take a bathroom break at this point. That's how much water we drank out of that water cooler.
That was like full on segment, but it was fun. I like breaking down each prospect like that.